Alright, so we are playing some 10k now on this table now, and we've already won a decent sized pot. I've been told for these cash game videos to try show my stack in obviously the cash value rather than blinds, but it's a bit more difficult for me playing, so I will mix between both. Alright, so he does raise us, just going to go fold now. On the 5k table here we have ace king suited, so obvious 4-bet from the small blind here when the button just raises. And we just get it through pre-flop, we don't mind that. On the 10k table, 10s from the cutoff. Okay, he raises us to 9 big blinds, which is a bit of a larger sizing than you'd usually expect. I was going to put in a 4-bet, but I think against the slightly larger sizing, either just going for a straight up shove is good here, or a call. Okay, good flop for us. He got an overpair and we've got the club. Be interested to see what sizing he goes for. Alright, he checks this back. That's pretty good. I guess I'll start to bet out now. Alright, nice. He just folds. Good little pot to win there. Also on this table, because I've obviously been shoving the other hand, haven't been showing the 5s. Annoyingly, he's only sitting with a short stack. I put in just a literal min raise when he bet out on the flop, and then I decided to bet the turn. I mean, his queen should be cool in here. Okay, he snap folds. I mean, I don't know what he calls all those streets with and then just snap folds. It kind of seems a bit weird to not even think about that one, because it's not as though it was like a very draw heavy board. Generally you don't call too much from the cutoff, but I think 9s is fairly decent call here. Okay, it's not the worst of flops. He should generally have a lot of checks here, but he does decide to bet out, and we're going to call. Pretty good turn card, gives us some additional answer now. Tempted to go for a raise here, but we definitely can still be ahead. It's not the greatest of rivers coming a heart. I mean, generally this only wants to be bluffed with a heart. Kind of could fall into the trap here of him inducing me to raise. I'm going to bluff. Okay. Oh, okay. Man. Wow, it's good play by him. Kind of annoyed about that last one, because I know like an all in there is actually a good play when you're holding a heart there with the 9s, but without it's basically just a call or fold in that situation. And I still went for it, got sucked in. Everyone makes mistakes now and again, and it's, you know, it's the only way you improve. It's just kind of, I'm annoyed at myself because I know that 9s with a heart likes a shove there, and without a heart it just wouldn't. So that's the thing I'm kind of more annoyed about, but it's done now. What can you do? Right, 10s, I think, okay, definitely going to go for a squeeze now. When we get a cut off open and then a button call, squeeze with 10s works really well. Puts in a pretty sizable 4-bet. This sizing does seem kind of strong. I think I'll just call with the 10s. I think we've just got to go with this one on the flop. Hope he has ace king. If we run into aces, kings, queens here, it's just a call out. I think I've got to go with the 10s. Yeah, probably behind here. Ace king, come on, that's good. Twice, let's go. Win the first. Oh, no. That's so sick. Alright, I will put in a 3-bet with the 9s now. Really good flop actually, because his ace kings are always going to be raising. A lot of his king queen suited and even some of his king queen offsuit is going to want to raise here. Okay, just folds on the flop. We got ace king on the ante table here, which is kind of nice, as you're going to see a lot more action, and we can put in a squeeze from the big blind if you know we do see some raises here. And he goes for quite a sizable 3-bet. So I will also go quite a big size in with my 4-bet from the big blind out of position. He just folds. So I went for a 3-bet against under the gun, and weirdly he's like just leading out on this board, which is just kind of not the usual play you see. We are going to call. Now that he checks, I suppose we're just going to check this one back. Don't feel overly confident with this hand though. I mean, he just goes for this tiny bet, but like, is this just always an ace? Like, is there even sort of any point calling here? I mean, I think we have to, but 10-9, yeah, okay. That's what I was going to say. It just seemed as though it was just always going to be an ace, but you know, I have to call there. Going to call from small blind versus big blind. Let's go. We'll take that. I suppose I'll just put in a small 3-bet, but if he calls, I think I'll probably then just check the turn and hopefully let him bluff into us. Okay, nice. I'm definitely going to be checking this turn now because he can definitely barrel this one quite a bit. To be honest, I think just leaving his bluffs in here is kind of good. Okay, that's just an absolute dream river. I think just checking this one again is good though. I can literally just, the way this session's going, like I can just see this pocket queens from an absolute mile off, and like this just being an absolute mega cooler. Oh no, jacks. King Jack. Ah, man. It's kind of annoying because I think he's still calling there on the turn if we raise probably. And, you know, potentially we can get stacks in there on the river. Was just hoping he was going to barrel that one. Wow, that's a great flop for the 10s. I guess I've still got to call 1-bet here. We've still got outs for the straight. Yeah, and he just bets out with 7-3 suited. Interesting turn bet. Called King 7 suited in the big blind, and we're going to be raising this board. Okay, he just checks back. He can definitely have some stronger king X in his range. I'm just going to check again on the turn. So he checks back again. So this probably to me looks a lot like, you know, 7s, 8s, 9s, something that kind of likes to check back middle pair. So I'm just going to bet out for a 75% size in here. Yeah, he just folds. Alright, so we get an under the gun open. You never really see any calls from these sort of positions, so gonna obviously raise with the jacks. Really good flop, especially when he just calls. Having jacks on this board seems pretty strong. Gonna go for half pot. I could actually go slightly bigger on this board to be fair, because he's gonna have, you know, a lot of 10s, 9s, which aren't gonna want to be folded into sort of even larger bets as well than half pot. 6s I'm not so worried about really. You expect to probably see more folds. 8s is something I can be a little bit worried about. Gonna continue to bet here, 75% on the turn. Something like 9s is obviously still gonna have to call here. 10s, he just goes for a fold though. Oh, we hit the flush here on the turn. We've also got 2 players still in the pot, which is extra good. So it just checks round now. I think sizing up works quite well because obviously our hand is still a bit vulnerable. Just having the 8 high flush. Hoping to see some calls. This Zelius has been thinking about this one a while. Okay, Zelius folds. Not sure what this player's going to do, but okay, he folds again. I mean, we win a decent pot. On this table here, we have a dream flop. Going to be betting out half pot here, and he literally just shoves. Feeling really happy about this. You're going to see a lot of sets in this spot. Wow, get really lucky. We wrap it up on the turn. Let's go. Okay, it makes me feel a bit better about that sort of real bad beat we've got earlier with the 10s against the ace king. We've got an exact same situation as last time when I lost the stack with the 9s. Just called from the cutoff last time. I'm going to put in a raise now. Not that I really focus on balancing, but it is basically a split between call and raise from from the cutoff here. Quite an interesting flop. I think one that just works quite nicely as a check back. Hoping just to see checks again. Okay, that's good. Guess once I check that flop, I check this turn back again. Really good river card. Probably going to have to call to any bets on the river. He checks. I mean, I just don't think there's any value really in betting this one. I mean, what am I targeting that's actually going to call? Eights. Okay, didn't have eights, he had twos. So heads up, Queen 10 suited, a nice 3-bet hand. Wow, I mean, usually I'd be calling to 4 bets with Queen 10, but against this sizing, it's not worth calling. Just going to call the King Queen off. Really good flop, especially when we just call. Not a bad turn card. He continues on the turn, not for a big sizing. I think just a call again is good. Fairly cleanish river. Something like Queen Jack, he'd already be getting bigger on the turn. Yeah, he checks. We're going to be ahead with 10-7. Good. We'll call the 3-bet. What a flop. Let's go. So he goes for just under half pot. So he is continuing to barrel on this turn. Not for a huge sizing, but he definitely can do this with like his Jack 10s and his hearts. So I think I'm going to put in a raise. Wow, he calls and we get an absolute dream river card. Especially as, you know, he definitely could have hearts. This could be an absolute massive pot here. The way he's played it as well, pocket 9s is definitely a possibility, which would obviously be an absolute dream. Obviously he was hoping for a snap call off pocket 9s. Nah, he just folds. Maybe he had, I don't know what he had there. I mean, pocket 10s, pocket jacks, maybe aces. He could even have a weaker queen and want to fold there. But you'd think he'd probably time back even more with queen. Decent flop for the 5-4. Probably just going to check back though. Okay, interesting one because we've obviously hit 2 pair. Straights get there. We'll go for a pot size bet. You're still going to get calls off 7s, 6s. Possibly he has an ace high as well, which would call. Yeah, nice. We're going to be ahead. Ace 9, yeah. Worked well checking that back. Really good flop. We can be confident betting this one. When the king comes on the turn, it reduces the strength of our hand, but it's still one that we can feel comfortable betting on. And he folds a turn. Again, good flop, but I'm just going to check this one over. So he bets out quite big, so I think I just want to call. Wow, what a turn card, let's go. Jeez, he goes really big though. Kind of don't like this. This sort of looks a lot like pocket 4s, but I can't fold. I mean, I was about to say that's a good card because it reduces the chance of him having pocket 4s, but then I just realised we've just been counterfeit. Yes, come on, huge. Like, that's the thing, I was initially happy to see the 4 come there because pocket 4s is just about the only thing which is going for that huge size in there. And if he just had like a single queen, it wouldn't really make much sense to be going for like a huge overbet on the turn. So although we got counterfeit, the 4 was actually kind of a good card in a way. None of his value hands really make sense other than if he had quad 4s. So I think we would have had to still call on the river. Here on this table we have ace queen, and like this is obviously just a straight up shove. Like there's literally no other play than a shove here against a 20 big blind stack. He snap calls, ace 9, run it twice against Luke, strong player. Man, it's looking like he's winning the first. Just don't win the second. That would be rough. Okay. Split the pot. I mean, we don't mind that. Back on the 5k table, we have jacks from the small blind. Okay, it's not a bad flop. I will just start off with the check though. He starts betting out, which is fairly standard when I check this one over on this board. Suppose I'll just call for the moment. Not a bad turn card again, but pocket tens is definitely something which slaps his range. So he just goes for like a third pot sizing, which to me, if he had a set in this situation, he would be sizing up. So I still feel fairly confident about my hand. It could still be something like pocket queen that has us beat, but perhaps nines bets like this as well. Pretty safe river card again. Still just going to check. We might have quite a tough river spot though, especially if he goes for a big sizing. Yeah, he checks back. We're ahead here. Yeah, nines. That is kind of exactly what I thought he was going to have when he downsized on the turn. All of his sets are just going bigger there for sure. Pocket queens is definitely possible when we're deep that he just calls rather than 4 bets. But then kings and aces, I still expect to be 4 betting most of the time. Okay, so looking over the results of this session now, we obviously went off to a really bad start. And it was looking to be quite a bad session. We had that one with the pocket tens, which was obviously really unlucky. We got it in great and just got rivered on both boards, which was really unfortunate. I made that one error with the pocket nines without a heart, which I know was kind of a bad play. So that's sort of the one mistake that I think I made this session. And then we ended up really picking it back up throughout the session, and we finished with just over 10k, well about 12k. But the thing is, obviously it's going to be slightly less with rake. But yeah, obviously overall I'm really happy with how the session ended up. As always, stay tuned for the next cash game video. See you soon.